Hello pretties, welcome to Vivi. My name is Vivi and I'm really excited that you're here because once again I could not sleep at night and I started thinking about all my makeup and my makeup palettes. So I just want to talk about it. Before we get started, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can become a resident of Vivi. And yeah, I love to have you here. So let's just get started how this whole thing started. So I've mentioned this before, I have a really hard time sleeping for multiple reasons. The point is, when I can't sleep at night, I start thinking about my makeup in ways for me to hopefully like relax and calm down and help me to fall asleep. While doing this, I was kind of thinking like, what are my most dupeable palettes within my collection, within my own collection, and just like in general, what are like the most dupeable color stories that are out there. So hence, this is what this all is all about. So I want to go ahead and get started with another name for this would be like ColourPop's Hidden Gems, which is this three palettes right here. So today I'm going to be talking about the Give It To Me Straight from ColourPop, which is this right here. Have the Yes Please palette, just this one right here. I have a pan on this one. It was my pad project pan, so I'll leave that over there. And I have the Double Entendre, which is this palette. I've also had a pan on this one, also in my pad project pan. So yeah, this right here are the palettes I wanted to talk about. None of them are really like shade for shade dupes, except for this one with the Tarte Toasted. Yes, Tarte Toasted. This one it's like almost exactly shade for shade. There's like two shades that are slightly off, which is this one right here. But yeah, this palette and the Tarte Toasted are almost shade for shade dupes. So let's just go ahead and get started and talk about this one first. All right, so for the Double Entendre, I have a couple of palettes that I kind of wanted to talk about. So recently, the Natasha and Denona dropped her bronze palette, which is really like a warm, neutral kind of palette. And when I was thinking about it, a lot of those shades are very similar to this. Now, again, that one has way more shades. I think it's 15. This one's only 12. Granted, ColourPop's not going to compare to Natasha Denona formula, or at least I don't think I've never tried Natasha Denona formula before to compare that. But I feel like if you have this palette, you may not want to go out and run and buy it because the color story is so similar. It's just those warm neutrals. And you have here they're a little bit more neutral, here a little bit more warm tone, and then just you have some basics, you know, kind of shades, you know, just like shimmer shades that I think can really go with anything. You have this kind of like paralyzed shade right here. You have a copperish, bronze, copper, a more golden shade. You really have everything you may see over there. So a lot of the looks that are coming out, you can redo them with this palette. Again, I mentioned the Tarte Toasted. This one also reminded me of the Soft Glam from ABH. I know there's a lot of drama with ABH. I personally don't really own anything from them except a couple of lip glosses. I am gonna feature an ABH palette in here, but my sister let me borrow it. That's not the point. I feel like this has a similar look as the ABH is another warm tone palette. This is all I need. Another one that I thought about was the 15D from Morphe. And with that one, I feel like that one does play more into the orange tones, which you only really have this three right here, but you don't need a lot of dimension with orange just because they all kind of start looking the same in your eye. So I was kind of thinking like, you know, again, it's just those same color stories that you're going to be needing. I also thought of the Boss Babe from Los Angeles, and now this one I do have, and I forgot to bring it, so give me a second so I can go get it. Okay, I'm back. Whew. I'm a little out of breath. I did a little too much while doing that. I didn't have to. I just, for whatever reason, did it. And it's this one right here. It just doesn't have this like bright red color, or yellow color, but again, it's those warm neutral palettes. Then you have the Mini Nude from Huda Beauty, the Big Brows from Dose of Colors. You have Classics from KKW, 35O from Morphe, and I feel like you're just seeing this consistent pattern, which is why I really wanted to create my channel, not to like show new makeup, but to see like shop your stash, see what else you've got. So all I'm saying is, just look at your stash. If you have any of this palettes, you kind of have them all. All right, so a different one So let's just go to the next one. And I was thinking about the Yes Please palette from ColourPop. So this palette right here is another warm neutral palette, but this one does have a bit more pops of color. Now, the first thing that I found within my collection was the Proceed with Caution. So give me a second so I can pull it up. Ugh. Now, these are by no means shade for shade dupes, but do you see those? They're relatively similar. Now, this one's a little bit more burgundy. This one's a little bit more red right here. You have those copper shades. You have, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this shade right here, this is Chaffair. This is my favorite transition shade out there. And Culture is a really good one right here. There's just a lot of similarities in between these two shades, or between these two palettes, where you can do a lot of similar looks. Even this shade right here, and this one, or the orange one, and the orange ones here. There's this very gold color right here. We have another gold one right here. And then I started thinking about palettes that have come out recently that kind of have a similar color story. And I was thinking of the Natasha and Denona Sunrise palette. Do you see it? I see it. Do you see it? Let me know. I also thought about the Natasha and Denona Sunset palette. But I think that those kind of go together. They're kind of similar. So again, it makes sense why this one's kind of go with it. I thought about the Coral Obsessions from Huda Beauty. I think actually that one and this one are pretty damn close to each other. And I also thought about the Sassy Siennas from Dose of Colors. Now that one is mostly about the mattes, but I do feel like it still has a similar, you know, it has a little similar something. There was also the Rust from Melt. That one was really popular. It just came out a couple of months ago, but everyone was talking about it. And every time I would see it, I was just like, that bright yellow, it just pops the same way that this one does in this palette. So I was just like, I guess I don't need that palette. Because at first I was really thinking about it. But then after, you know, kind of swatching it shade by shade, I'm like, a lot of the shades do kind of duplicate. All right, and then the last one, and I feel like this is the most common color story out there ever. I have more for this palette than I have for any other palette, and that is the Give It To Me Straight, just this one right here. It's still a warm neutral palette, but it does have this like mauve purple tones. Now there's not too many in this palette. There's only 3 of them, which is TMI right here. You have Be Blunt, and then Forthright. I think those are very like mauve shades, and a little bit on this downright right here. It's like purpley, but like warm neutral almost. Like it's a really, but this 4 right here, all right, and everything else is kind of more on the orange tone. And guess how many palettes I have in my collection that are similar to that? I have 2, which is way more than it could have been. But I have the Laura de Los Angeles first palette, which is Cat's Pajamas. Now again, these are not shade by shade dupes, but you have a similar color story where you have your warm neutrals and then you have those mauve purple tones. Warm neutrals and mauve purple tones. So you know, I have a thing. Then you have the Morphe 24D. Now this one is not as obvious, I will say, as the other ones, but it does have a similar vibe. There's just not as many of those mauve tones. Not that there isn't. These ones right here are kind of mauve tones, and here is just, you don't have them as mattes, it's mostly as shimmers. All right, so it was just 2. But like I said, I did ask my sister to let me borrow her palette, and I always thought this, and I feel like I'm the only one that thought this, that the Modern Renaissance palette kind of is similar, kind of is similar to the Give It To Me Straight. Now again, not shade for shade dudes, and this one does have more shades obviously, but look at those oranges right there. You have your burnt orange and what is this? Realgar? I don't know. And then you have these 2 right here, which is Truth Hurts and BS. Again, those orangey shades. Now you have Bon Fresco and this one right here, Venetian Red. Guys, this is like my first time like really holding this palette, so I'm just like not familiar with the shades. I'm sorry. But Venetian Red. And then you have Downright. It has a similar purple undertones, and then TMI. I'm telling you guys, I'm not imagining these things up. They're just so similar. And I mean, if you try to compare the two palettes, give me a second, guys. Someone's trying to call me while I'm trying to film. That's not cool. So, and then obviously the neutrals are right there. That being said, it has occurred to me that one, I have a lot of duplicates with my own collection, but a lot of these palettes are also duplicates, and I do want to kind of think about that before I do purchases. I've mentioned it before in my makeup inventory that I've reached my goal of how many palettes I want to buy or have, but I am still considering a couple of palettes, and I did just recently picked up the Robbie Christie collab, and I know that Lara Alessandra's going to come up with something soon. So I am kind of curious, you know, I am needing to be more selective in what I'm bringing into my collection so that I don't end up with all these duplicates like I have. And as you're seeing, as a lot of them are coming out, they're kind of all duplicates. I did actually go into the details as to what duplicates I found of this ones, but let me give them to you. So I have the 15N from Morphe, and I used to own this palette, but I actually gave it to my mom. There's the Queen of Hearts from Color Rain. I actually think the Queen of Hearts and the Modern Renaissance are so close to each other, similar to this one. I mentioned Cat's Pajamas, I mentioned 24 Age, the Rose Gold from Huda Beauty. I think that one's really similar, and so is the So Fire from KKW. So what I was saying is I really created this a way for me to be able to realize that I've got all I need, and as new palettes are coming out, they're not all that inventive, and I don't want to be buying every palette that comes out. Honestly, guys, like I said before, if I have more than 20 palettes, like if I get to 21, somebody needs to come here and be like, gunshot, you need to declutter some palettes. You got too many. Because at that point, I don't need more than 20 palettes. I'm one person, I have 2 eyeballs, I wear eyeshadow 6 times a week. It's just too much. They'll go bad, and I don't want my makeup to go bad. I want to get as much use out of them as possible. So that's it. Please tell me if there's any other palettes that you can think of that maybe are really good dupes. I just really feel like these 3 palettes right here, oh, hold on. These 3 palettes right here are so universal. They're so much more affordable. They have really good quality. And if there's any other new palettes that have similar color story as this one's, which let's be honest, there probably will be, I don't need them. I'm fine. I can live, and I need to move on. So see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Have a good day, guys.